Uh-oh. Excited to
Whoops.
hear the news. What news? I came in late to
Oh
this
my.
one. Wow. Brandon, what are you talking about?
What
Kyle, good
news
to
are we
have you
talking about there,
back.
Brandon?
Yeah, tell
Camera
us.
Flask
Harrison?
Insiders Group. Maybe he's picking up right where we left off last week. We were mentioning
Yeah.
something.
We've got David here.
He's like excited to hear the news, and we're like, us too.
Yeah. What
Good to see
news?
you
We don't even
guys.
know. How's everybody doing? Wednesday, April 13th. Lucky 13. 3 o'clock here on the West Coast. 5 o'clock where you are. And
Indeed.
kind of feels like Wednesday, whatever that means, I guess.
Hmm.
We were just
I
talking about the
agree.
fact that since last week's show, I, I I didn't even know what bursitis was, but I got this thing in my left shoulder, and I basically been down for the better part of 5 days. I mean, I've been working, but it's been brutal. I couldn't use my arm for until they put a shot of steroids in my ass, and then I started to function again. But here I am.
Did
So
they literally put it in the rear end or in the
no, it's
arm?
more. It's
I
more.
would
No,
imagine
it's
the
more
arm.
like where your. It's more like where your hip is where they did it.
Oh,
Ooh,
interesting.
my video went a little
Bit
weird. Yeah,
bigger,
but it
bigger
worked.
blood vessels there or something.
I don't know. I don't get involved in that. They just stick that thing in there, and I'm like, she's like, it might hurt after you get the shot, and I was like, yeah, that should come on, give me a break. And then like 30 seconds later, I was like, that what the hell's happening to my ass or my left leg? It's just like this pain, and then
Oh
it's just
no.
sore for like 2 hours. But it took the attention off the shoulder a little bit, so it kind of did that. So yeah, it's good.
Wild. Well, we're
Wow, it
down a
is.
man, as you guys might be able to tell.
Yeah.
So Ben is bending himself, doing what Bens do
Benning.
when they have things to do.
Yes. Traveling and working, and he just couldn't make it this week. So why don't we get a drink in our hands along with our
Sounds
chat?
perfect.
We got two Speaking of cheeky, we've got Small Brown Fox and 360 Grad in here this week.
Oh boy.
Tell us what you. I mean,
Need our grumpy
where's
penguin.
Grumpy? We need. I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
haven't seen him in
mind
a
meld
while.
there. Come on. All right. So tell us what you're drinking today, Caleb. Let's go for it.
All right. So this week we are rocking this guy.
Ooh,
I
I
actually
don't know
bought
this.
this bottle exclusively for this bottle, just because it looked interesting. So this is a Belfour. Is a bourbon whiskey finished with Texas pecan wood.
Ooh,
So
pecan
we're
pecan.
looking at 92
Pecan
proof.
pecan. Ooh,
And I thought the bottle was really cool. It's kind of like a
totally
Art Deco looking
Yeah.
situation. And I figured that would be a great, almost like a decanter, if I could find another glass top for it. So
Yeah.
that's the deal with me this week. It's
Very
not
Art
bad.
Deco.
I can't remember what it cost. It's kind of, middle of the road price and flavor, I would say. So it's nothing socks blowing offing, but it's not, shabby either. So that's my
Chris.
deal. What's yours?
Ben is rescuing the president of Ukraine today. Unbelievable. Looks like Poirot's office. The comments are unbelievable. Quick question from Sky before I pour my drink. Great video this week, Caleb. Nice to see a new guide out. What's the next guide you will work on?
It's a good question, and thank you, Sky. Next up is GH6. So
Beautiful.
I spent all day today going through the entire menu system, which is somehow like 6 GH5s put together.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Speaking of, let's get to your drink, and then I have something nerdy I wanted to tell you about because I thought of you today multiple times while I was in the menu system, stuff that I know we've complained about together. So
That's
we'll
it.
get to that.
That's what I'm drinking. Boom. The Aaron
Nice.
10 year again.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just good. So why not, right? Let's do it. And I'm going to pour a little. So here we go. A little bit of that Foley from The Godfather with the cork. You know the scene, peeps. And here we are. So to you and to the chat and to another
Cheers,
Wednesday.
everybody.
And a nice dark color on that. And let's do it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, Kyle. Kyle's having coffee.
Mm.
Hefeweizen for Harrison. I saw David's having something. Thanks for sending those pictures off, David. Old Forester and sparkling water. Tell me this geeky thing, Mr. Caleb Pike.
Okay. So, you know how like every camera ever, zebras only go down to like 50, 60?
Yeah. There's like 3 cameras that go below it.
I know. Yeah. It's insane. So the GH6 doesn't go below, I think, 50. But once you get below 50, you can switch it over to, I wish I had the camera thing. That would have been smart. You can switch it over to a stop basis.
Oh, really?
So you can tell it, give me 0 stops, which is exactly 42 IRE, so that you get proper vlog exposure. Or you can bump it up to whatever stop you want and set a range. So you can say, all right, I want to be between 1 stop and 2 stops over, exposing to the right. And you can just dial that in and you're done. And then you can set a second zebra for 80, which is clipping for vlog. And you can turn both on at the same time. So with just zebras,
yeah.
Good.
No, I'm just clarifying. So effectively you can set it below 50, but you have to do it based on this stop-based system. And 0 stops would be essentially saying you're shooting in log, for instance, and we're rating the camera, and at 0 stops, meaning the baseline above that line, below that line, it's essentially saying where you're exposing for middle gray, kind of, right?
Exactly. So 0 is middle gray, IRE, and then you can go under, over. And also have zebras, a second zebra set up for an IRE scale above 50. So you can say your skin or a gray card and have your highlights show up as a different color zebra.
Beautiful.
Which is insane. And then they also
so it's going in one direction and then the other direction for the other zebras.
I believe, I haven't fully checked that out yet. I just was playing with in the menu, but I need to see if it's a different color or if it's both different hash size or direction, like you said, which I believe is the case. And then there's also a just a little what do they call it? It's essentially a small meter measuring in stops or IRE, where you can just put it anywhere on the screen. It'll just tell you.
Oh, really?
From 0 or 42 IRE, this is X stops above.
And it's essentially, so it's
you
a little
program it to a button.
So it's essentially a movable spot meter that you're doing that
Imagine
with.
Like on a Canon camera, the smallest focus point, it's that big. And you can tap on the screen. You can program it to a button.
Yeah, I'm tracking. Yeah, on Canon cameras.
You can turn it on and off, and it'll just, it'll on
be
cinema
there.
Cameras, it's all there. But this is for GH6. It's crazy.
That's baller. I like that.
Yeah, so good.
Thank goodness. I mean, I've been trying to get Fuji.
We talked about how BS.
I've been trying to get Fuji to allow the zebras to go below 50% for years. I mean, all you need, like, make it go to 25. I mean, we really only need 35, 40, but it would just be great if you could do that. And it's not something from an engineering standpoint that's hard to implement. Getting bra ads to pre-roll before your video might be a little harder. Apparently. I don't know how that happened. The comments in here. Beautiful. All right. Well, that's cool. I'm glad you're working on that guide. Is that a months-long endeavor, or is it weeks? Or
I'm hoping to speed it up.
Okay.
I want to do a lot more camera guides this year, but and that might trickle into how things are going in the industry for people who are out there doing work, as well as people like me. It's because things have changed, I would say.
Yeah,
definitely changed. So I'm having to shift a little bit what I do because there's no cameras available for any of us.
Yeah, this chip shortage thing, just the shortage in general. I mean, I ordered a new front door and they said it was going to take 4 weeks, and they've now given me a new estimate. It's going to be over 3 months to get a front door for your house. What the hell?
Insane.
There's no chip in a front door.
Yep.
I've heard bathtubs take 3 to 6 months. It's bonkers right now.
Lord help you if you need a dishwasher. Forget that.
Thank goodness I refied when I did, because it's a mess out
Mm-hmm.
there right now. Feeling like I'm making some good choices in life. I usually haven't, but in my old age, things are working out a little bit better for me sometimes. Rhapsodus, are you guys going to NAB? Funny you should ask. I think we were sort of alluding to it last week. We didn't know where we were going to stand on that. My sound is chopping. Brandon, I thought you said this last week. My levels look good. How do they sound to you? They look good on my meter.
They're fine on
Caleb?
my end. It must be a
Okay.
YouTube thing. Little
Yeah, I don't
blips
know.
here and there.
Yeah. I got it dialed in pretty well. So the answer is, long and short of it is, Caleb and I are going to the show, not for the entire time, but kind of last minute decision. Worked out some stuff, and yeah, I think we'll be primarily there, I would say, for the second half of Sunday, which is the first day of the show now. Or most of Sunday, and then Monday. And then, maybe a little bit for Tuesday. But it's those 2 days. Is there anybody here in the chat who's going to be there besides Digital Filmmaker? I'd love to hear about that. And of course, we'd love to bump into some people on the floor. It really seems like when I looked at the whole the comments, if we look at the
I know. Good times.
Slavic. Okay. So it really seems like there's no South Hall. And if anybody knows how
Right.
NAB is structured, the South Hall was really where primarily the software companies were, the hardware, hard drive companies, a lot of that's where Blackmagic was. In the old days, that's where Apple was. You have Avid, you have Adobe, and then you have all the hard drive manufacturers, and there's a lot of stuff related to that in there. And then Central Hall is sort of more production usually, and it looks like it's still going to stay that way. But it looks like the South Hall is now becoming the North Hall, or the North Hall is becoming what the South Hall used to be. So we're going to see those companies, IT, hard drives, that stuff. And then there's going to be another West Hall, which is a new building or newish. It was being built the last time I went to NAB. And it looks like that's where the real IT stuff's going to be. That's where you're going to have AWS, and you're going to have all the cloud storage solutions and really IT based stuff. So I don't think I'm going to be in that hall very much. I'll definitely be in North for some stuff, and then I'll probably be in Central for most stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. It doesn't look like Brad's going to be there. And then who else?
So yeah,
is there?
long story short, I don't know if we fully said, but yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
It was funny. Jim and I last week, both of us were like, nah, I don't know about this year. Not sure. It's, kind of a whatever year. And then he called me and he's like, I think I'm going to go. And that morning I was like, ugh, I'd really like to go. And then Cassie was like, you should just go.
Yeah.
It's a good reset. It's, for me at least, to be able to hang out with all the people that are on the other side of all of this, right?
Yeah.
Because it can get very, echo chamber over here. So it's good to spend some time with real folks. So I'm excited. It's going to be good.
I agree. I think, and you don't know how long that window is going to be, right? You don't know how long it's going to be around.
NAB as a whole?
Well, I think it's going to be around. When a kid texts you, I just have to make sure everything's all right. I apologize.
Yeah, right. No, I get that.
No, seriously. Yeah. Yeah. Let me just make sure. Yeah.
Decimator
so for me,
booth.
I know. Totally decimated. The reality is that I think it's going to be fine. I'm pretty sure we're getting NAB and we're getting Cine Gear, right now. But who knows what's happening in the fall? And I definitely feel like this is a window of opportunity to reconnect with our community across the boards. I don't think every company is going to be there, but there might be some cart companies. And what was the other thing that we spent a half an hour on last week? We did carts, and what was the other thing?
Don't bring it up, Bill. carts and time code.
Oh, for God's
Time
sake.
code. Don't
Time
get
code.
small brown fox going there,
Oh,
Bill.
no. No. Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be cart booths.
Yeah. Well, we'll
On the
get that
32-bit.
32-bit flow cart. Yeah. All right.
For
So,
sure.
yeah. So I think we're both Genlock. Here we go. Oh God, they're not. Yeah. We're all disappointed it's not at the Paramount lot Cine Gear, Brad, but hopefully it'll come back. I think it's just an availability thing. So we'll see where that goes. So yeah, I'm excited. I really am. And it's not for a long period of time. I'm not going to teach, obviously plan to at the next show, but just to be able to connect with both content creators and the companies behind all of this it's going to be important. So I'm glad. And I get to hang out with you.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Yes,
So,
it'll be a good time.
let's get the chat involved here. We're totally open to questions about NAB, equipment, production, post-production, things like that. I think that the couple of things that we wanted to kind of discuss were sort of these discussions we've been having about Camera Flask and the schedule for that is more realistic, a little bit more focused, allows both my channel to start doing some other content because I like to be live stream focused, and keep this slot on Wednesdays as sort of the base slot, but also allow us to continue to have the three of us, of course, when Ben's here, doing Camera Flask together. So a lot of back and forth on that. I think that we've sort of settled on the first Wednesday of every month as our base day that we would do Camera Flask. That might shift depending on our schedules, but we try to be as consistent as possible. And then if we feel that a certain Wednesday warrants a special episode because there's something very timely related to equipment, the industry, something like that, we'll make a decision about that, and then we'll post that. And would you say that's kind of our plan, Caleb, for the most part?
Yeah, and as for the reason behind it, for me, it's as I'm sure many of you know, life's nuts, kids, family, freeing
Yep.
up an one night a week for me, so to be able to do things with them. So we're gonna shoot for we're not sure what day of the week or what Wednesday of the month I should say is going to work best. We're going to try to, I would imagine, dial in, I don't know, the first Wednesday or the last Wednesday of every month. That way it's easy to remember.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
Figure out what we're going to do from there.
So what we're thinking
more
is
concentration, more passion, bringing to the table, get some challenges going. It'd be great.
Yeah. And so I think we were discussing it right before the show, just to keep it easy for the first Wednesday of the month episode. We'd come in the first Wednesday of May, and we would concentrate on a post NAB show where we can really wrap all of the things that we've seen. I'm probably going to take some stills and get some information and have some stuff to show. And then I'm hoping to start to ramp up a few more of these Wednesday live streams focused on other things like still photography, answering, general questions, less of what we do here on Camera Flask, and a little bit more focused on specific things that people are trying to figure out. So you can call it a helpline sometimes, more community based in terms of sharing information and that kind of stuff. So there you go. People are so cheeky. And there you go. Yeah, do it yourself cart building challenge. That's coming soon. Reinvent timecode challenge, the gem lock challenge. Yeah, we'll do all that kind of stuff. It's perfect.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Gem lock. I love it.
So hopefully everybody is on board with this. We know it's not weekly. I will try my best to be consistent in terms of at least 2, hopefully up to 4 times a month, having a weekly hour to do this kind of stuff. And I am really looking at that seriously and doing that. So let's
do you have
keep talking about
on that note, I was just the other day. I came across a old gearbox video,
Hmm.
and I don't know if there's a way to do a gearbox live, but just like the good
Yeah,
old days where you're just standing there talking about some weird grip head, but not grip head that you discovered. Something like that would be baller.
I think so. I think,
Live.
yeah. So one of the things that I've talked to a manufacturer about is doing like a 1 hour, 1.5 hour live event from this space. And I've
Mm,
already started to try to figure out what that looks like. If I'm doing that by myself in this space, but being able to effectively show people equipment, but more than just saying, "Oh, here's this thing right here," on the desk.
right.
More of a wide camera in this space so that I can, show
Yeah.
more of what's here, but not from this angle. And so I'd really like to do something like that. So if this thing happens at the beginning of May that I'm supposed to do, I should be set up to be able to do that. And then the idea would
Nice.
be that if I do a live stream, I can walk around. I just have a, stupid headset mic or something like that. And I'd be able to show equipment. I'd be able to show setups. And, I'd have to run over to the ATEM to change the the setting. I think there's an app for it too, though. I've just never tried it. Have
Yeah,
you?
there is. There's a bunch of
Yeah.
solutions like that. Little Bluetooth remotes and things people have come up
Yeah.
with.
So the idea would
Or
be,
or do the audio follow video thing.
that's true.
If you can mute your headset, I don't know. Yeah.
So explain that a little bit more.
So there's a setting on the ATEM where you can have it switch to audio. So if there's audio on channel 1, it's on channel 1. And if the audio cuts on channel 1 and audio starts on channel 2 or sorry, like input 2,
Hmm.
it will automatically cut. So you
Hmm.
could have um a microphone, a shotgun microphone for your main setup here, and
Hmm.
literally hit a mute button and start walking away, unmute your mic or something.
Hmm.
If you have some way to mute each thing, you can essentially switch by just muting stuff.
Because it'll switch the camera
Yeah.
along with
Like if
the
you
yeah, I
start
got it.
walking away from your setup right now
Yeah.
and you had a
Yeah.
little belt pack on and you unmuted it, in
Mm.
theory, after you start walking away and keep talking, it should switch.
Can I do
Maybe
that
you
with
have
a
like
Canon
a
M50?
monitor,
Like 12 M50s? Like Small Brown Fox
12
wants me to have?
M50s. As long as audio goes out over HDMI, then yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, why not?
Then have just a big display in the corner of your place so you can like make sure it's actually with a
Actually doing
program
it.
feed or something.
I think I like the idea
And
of just
just
having an
something like
app, though.
super. Yeah. That's true. You want control. Be able to, when it starts
Well,
wigging
it'd be
out.
really good if I just walked over. So the idea would be here's the desk setup, right? And then of
Hmm.
course there'd be another setup. It wouldn't be this one right here, but there would be a table-based setup. And then what I would do is go
Right.
to a wide of this room where you could see whatever the setup is that I'm doing. Let's say it's a lighting setup. And then of course the fourth feed would be the actual hero camera. So if I sat down in front
Right.
of camera or something like that, we could switch to that. Um, save money bringing the PA.
Another nerdy
The
thing you could do, uh,
yeah.
and something I started experimenting with but never did it enough to need it. Is you have what is those whatever those decks are called, Stream Deck, right?
Yeah, I have a Stream Deck, yep.
Yeah. So you can create all these like, custom things in the ATEM with all of the, you know, little media files you can put in, but you could create, as an example, let's say you're going to switch from this setup to your big wide of the studio.
Yeah.
You could hit a button, a bunch of C47s could like eat up the screen, and then it would be like, some graphic that takes,
Yeah.
I don't know, 5 seconds,
Yeah.
and export it in ProRes 444. So it's, essentially
Alpha
a video
channel.
PNG.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
alpha
yeah.
channel.
Yeah.
And then by the time you come back, like you can set it up where it automatically plays the video, switches to the other camera angle, and then there's all kinds of cute stuff. But if you
Yeah.
automate all that stuff, then it's like super easy.
I could
If you can
I
get
could
the difficulty, I don't know. I just whatever it would take to get gearbox back. Nothing
Yeah.
fancy, just a
No, I
good
know.
old.
Straightforward.
I'm just
I would
standing
like to.
here. I haven't shaved in 3 days, but I have this awesome thing I just found or whatever. I love that
I
stuff.
would love to. I mean, I have no interest in doing reviews per se, but I love that was the most fun about Gearbox is finding a little
Hmm.
gadget or a little thing that was a problem solver. It's so different nowadays, but yeah, I'm gonna figure out some sort of solution to this. There's definitely something brewing on there.
Mm.
So maybe we'll do first Wednesday of May post NAB wrap. First Wednesday of June, our first official challenge, whatever that's going to be, and we'll figure it out. It'll be perfect. I'll do the whole thing off of a cart, and there'll be plenty of time code.
Perfect.
It'll be beautiful. Good. And just to clarify for Caleb, I know he says he's getting one Wednesday back, and we do the show 4 days a week. But he also, 4 times a month. He also does his own live streams and everything else he does. So he's factoring in his life to this decision, and I think it makes sense.
I'm getting 3 Wednesdays. Okay, right?
You're getting 3 Wednesdays back, kind of, but
Right. That's
yeah,
We're doing
kind of
one
one a
Camera
month.
Flask,
Yeah,
but we're open to like if we can pick a frequency where most of us can make it. Like I can commit to once a month. That's no problem.
yeah,
And then you and Ben had talked about maybe there's something like where I don't know if one of us can't make it, it's fine. We just carry on. But if we need to move it for a special event or
yeah,
Jem,
exactly.
if Ben wants to hang out and talk about stills or whatever, there's all kinds of stuff
Yeah.
we can do.
And again, yeah, if something big is coming up, a big show, a big announcement, we'll either shift our, regular or we'll add another show. I mean, there's definitely going to be times where we'll do 2 shows in a month if it makes sense. When things are, but it's just not going to be a consistent thing. You say that's right, Caleb?
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yeah. Once
Yeah.
figure out our cadence once a month if there's,
Yep.
canon.
And then something big. Something big. We'll do a
yeah.
dedicated show to it, Yeah.
Yeah. Fuji comes out of the cinema camera. I don't care what's happening. We're doing a show.
Yeah. No question.
And yes,
Chris is going to do a
right
drunk talk
there,
one.
Brandon. He's like, told you, news.
It's news. We kind of teased it last week. We're just trying to figure it out. The other thing we'd like to talk about is just sort of, I think NAB really got me starting to think about it. Also, some changes that I'm starting to see with companies and work and stuff like that. I'd love to hear from everybody in the chat in terms of how things are potentially starting to change. Some people here work a full-time job, so they may have been working remotely and now they're going back in. Some people may have been traveling and stopped traveling and now starting to travel again. Just be interested to find out from people how things are starting to change for everybody with everything, and also where you think things are going. Like, are you concerned about certain things related to future work? Are you excited about it? Do you think there's better opportunity now going into, this next year? Less opportunity? I don't know. I just want to kind of get a sense of how everybody feels about it, because I've got all kinds of feels happening and I'm still not sure what they are. Like, it's I'm trying to read the room here, and that's I think part of the reason I want to go to NAB is to kind of figure out what's happening with our industry or get everybody's take on that, and kind of get a sense of where the industry sees things. Is this the end of an era when it comes to trade shows, and they're doing it because they can make a bang in this short period of time, right? You're Sony, you haven't done a big trade show in 3 years. Here you are, you've got some products potentially, and this is a forum to be able to do it. There's going to be a fair number of people. Yeah, NAB is normally, I would say, about an 80 to 110,000 person show, and my guess is we're probably at least half of that for this show, right? They're still filling up a lot of halls, but I don't think it's going to be the same type of show as before, and there's definitely some people who aren't exhibiting, but I'd love to know where we're going. And I don't know where we're going until I talk to everybody else, at least in the industry.
Yeah.
And then from a client's perspective, I'm also trying to get an idea of where things are going. I can see shifts where it looks like work may be increasing in certain areas, work may be going down in certain areas for me, hopefully up. So I don't know. Colin says I'm getting excited again about new cams for the first time in a few years, so that's cool. And we did have that weird period, Caleb, during the pandemic where all these manufacturers just released a slew of cameras. And it's
Yeah.
not like
Yep.
no cameras have been released since this whole thing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts
Good to
as
see
we
you.
get
Good
some
to see you,
comments in?
Colin. I haven't seen you in the chat
No.
earlier, so
Wow.
welcome. Yeah, no, I agree. That's part of the reason I'm going too. Is it's been several years, and so it'd be good to kind of reconnect with people, with companies, and just kind of get a pulse on things. It's funny that you wanted to talk about this because I hadn't considered it, but it makes a lot of sense. And what I don't know is what is happening in, like, I would love to hear everyone in the chat if you, like, let's say today versus 2018, what do things look like? Like, would you say you're at 60, 50, 80, 90% of your workload? And then the second question is it a completely different type of work? So are you at full capacity work-wise? And is it the same, or is it something completely different? Like Jem's been doing a lot of remote, directing. That'd be really, really fascinating for me to hear. I'm kind of in this weird, I'm not doing production anymore in a traditional sense, but I'm, producing weekly content on a YouTube channel, talking about equipment, and that has changed dramatically. In fact, I haven't talked to Jem, I don't think, even about this, but for the first time in 10 years, I just took a pay cut.
You did. You mentioned it to
And
me. Yeah, briefly.
Yeah, right. So
yeah,
got multiple kids, dogs. I can't remember.
Terrifying. No, it's
Yesterday
terrifying.
for today.
Yeah.
No, but it's and so I think a big portion of it is like everything that's going on in the world when it comes to shipping. A huge thing is that chip shortage. Like made it through all the way through 2020 and pretty much nothing changed. 2021 it started, and there's a billion factors involved with different companies, Amazon, others making big changes. So it's been really interesting to see that shift. And I've known for a while, by the way, if anyone's a YouTuber, make sure your pie chart, when you look at your income, you don't want any big fellas on that. And for me, a big one was affiliate income. You want to make sure that it's as balanced as possible.
Yeah.
But long story short, there's just nothing available. Like just the other day, I was like, oh, I should get a floppy cutter. It'd be great. I thought of this I've been needing one for years.
Yep.
Hop on B&H. It's made of metal wire, essentially a glorified metal frame and some fabric. Out of stock, along with like everything else.
Floppy cutters?
Yeah, floppy cutters. You'd be amazed at how much just basic stuff is out of stock. So anyway, that's been really, really interesting. So we got some stuff coming in here. Chris says 0, started an anthropology degree.
Yeah.
David says 70%, but doing more corporate stuff. Okay.
Yep.
Pandemic definitely screwed up the planning portion, but next year should be back to normal. Interesting. Post color gear. External Atomos EVF recorder. Okay, Colin. So anyway, do you have any thoughts on that while people drop their
I do
thoughts?
want to mention to Colin that we do know who you are. We were just mentioning that we haven't seen you today, and it's been a while, I think, since you've popped in and made a comment in the chat. So we do remember who you are, Colin. 100%. And that's pretty easy to do when you only have 20 people on the show every week. So we're all good, Colin. We got you. We got you, kid. So yeah, I mean, let me actually feed off of a little bit of what you said, Caleb, because one of the things that I think is pretty fascinating is the content creator. We used to call people influencers, but just people who are in a space where, and I would tend to disagree with you. I know you say that you're not doing production anymore. I think if if what you're doing on a day in, day out basis is creating content, you're in production. You're just not doing, you're the client. You're your own client.
Right.
I mean, that's the truth of it. But
Traditional production. I don't do
traditional
anymore.
production, yes, but you are
Yeah.
doing plenty of production. In fact, a lot more production than a lot of people are doing. Um, but the reality is that there seem to be some trends happening. Part of it may be chip shortage, equipment shortage. So if you have affiliate sales, it's harder for people to obtain the products that you're talking about. And I know that largely or exclusively at this point, the way you're structured, it's, you're not having manufacturers send you products all of the time. Um, a vast majority of the stuff that you have on your channel is stuff that you purchase and you create this content and you
Mm.
put that content out there. So you are you're not based on a system of waiting for manufacturers to send you something new and then being beholden to them or them to you don't have to deliver something necessarily usually on a specific deadline. So this is content you've created. But it does seem like watching trends have changed, and I'd be interesting to find out from people in the
100%.
chat. Have they started to feel like there's Caleb, your channel has evolved and you're not really a review based channel anymore. I think you cover a lot of different categories of types of equipment, or you say let's build this thing and then there's another version of it, and you come up with all of these um, creative ways to problem solve production for people and also introduce people to and allow them to see comparisons of product categories. And I think that's really important. You're not the only person doing it. You're doing it in your own unique way. But there are a lot of people who do um, incredible and some people who do mediocre review based things. And then there's a lot of other people who are just sort of, covering things related to the industry and equipment. And I'd like to find out if people here are stopping, they're slowing down or stopping to view that content. And what kind of content are people
Mm.
really interested in watching on YouTube? And is it pre-recorded, content that they want to watch, or do they want this and to try to figure out a live version of showing people things, answering questions, which is a little more complicated, but has the advantage, I think, for me, if I can figure out the formula to be able to create that content. And then I don't have to think about or be stressed out about how am I going to edit this? It's basically being done live, right? So there's a huge advantage to being able to do that. Any feelings on that? And feel free to jump in too, Caleb, with your thoughts on it. But I'm just wondering how you think about how people are watching, consuming content, and if you think those trends are changing.
Yeah. No, I've noticed a drop a little bit. I know you and I were talking on the phone about several people and some stuff we've seen that it's definitely seems to be in our space. I can't speak for all of like YouTube period, but in our space there seems to have been like people are just a little more like disconnected or not watching. And that could just be a coincidence that like all the big channels that we all kind of like watch and check out are just down.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder if also it's kind of this. I mean, a part of me hopes that it is, and I would love it if this is the case. If it's people just like, enough's enough. I got a great camera. I've got good audio equipment. Let's go make something. And
Yeah.
hopefully it's not just, the constant like, ugh. Or if it's just a phase. I had a theory that over the course of NAB, a lot of us just kind of unplugged from a lot of stuff, or because we weren't working, we were, focusing on other things or other hobbies. And maybe that could be it. I don't know. Could be a lot of different things. And I know for me, I'm kind of an oddball. Like I don't do any sponsorships. So that's like a whole other thing
Yeah.
that a lot of, creators have this whole other, so that's a very different. I'd be curious to hear from someone who does regular sponsored content, if that's any different, or if that's also like everyone's cutting back budgets or anything like that. I have no idea. So yeah. And as for the
Yeah.
live stuff, let's see, what do we got here? Looks like some people are dropping.
Yeah, there's definitely some comments coming in.
Enjoyed watching techniques with products over product reviews. Nice.
Okay.
Short and sweet. For me, YouTube has become a way to keep up with trends and learn how people are using technology differently and get loads of ideas from viewers, streams of live streams, as well as hosts.
Yeah.
Brad doesn't watch gear videos anymore. It's more important to consume content on running a business. Nice. I did not see the new Cook S8i.
Care less about gear, more about technique. I like both, actually. This is Michael. This show and the recorded stuff Caleb does. I don't like the vlog style review and video production education channels. Got it. Been watching a lot of lighting tutorials lately, which don't generally get a lot of views. You know, you talk about cameras, that's a big one, right? But oddly enough, the most important thing in some ways, besides sound, when it comes to capturing a picture, lighting.
You're the most important. Lenses too. Lenses don't get in it unless it's like the newest, fastest, most autofocusy f1.0 16 to 35. People don't really care about lenses, which is real sad.
It is.
Someone mentioned or retracted. I think it was David. Something about embargo drops. I'm with you. I've been doing more of them, and in a way, it's nice because you get kind of an in on what's new, and you get to try things obviously before they come out. But I totally get it. It's real annoying when you log on YouTube and there's 74 Mac Studio reviews, or you know, I don't know, Sony 16 to 35 f4, all that kind of stuff.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, I do like channels that are growing and evolving, like MKHB. You know, the interviews that he's getting. Rick Beato, somebody mentioned in the music space, who I watch. You know, they're sitting down with some of the brightest people in the industry, and they're getting to speak to these people about things that are really interesting to me. You know, conversations are definitely something that are always something that I go back to. I also love instructional stuff, but it's generally in other spaces. Like, I can't even tell you how many cooking videos I watch. You know, it's just, that's like an area for me. You know, anything related to food. Wandering TP is good stuff. You know, a superstar
Goat,
over
for
there.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, real quick side note, if you didn't know, and he doesn't plug it enough, he has a free 5-video series. Have
Patrick
you guys heard of this? Yeah.
No.
See, I've heard it once in passing in one of his podcasts, where he was like, you know, sign up for the thing, you'll get 5 videos. Essentially, he does, over the course of 5 videos, breaks down his whole framework thing in a very clear, beautifully illustrated way. He uses what's the game on Steam where you get to like visualize stuff? Previs.
Oh, Cine Tracer.
He uses Cine Tracer, and he breaks 5-part series. He emails you once a day. So for 5 days, you get videos. Everyone should do that right now. Go to Wandering DP, find his page where he promotes his, I don't know, there's some free email. I'll hunt it down. But it's phenomenal. Phenomenal
An
stuff.
American in Western Australia. Somebody's got to do it.
Love it.
The other app that's really something that I think people should take a look at is by a German company. It's called Set a Light. SET, a light. And they have a lot of light fixtures in there. They have a lot of actors. It's not as immersive and environment based as Cine Tracer, but it's a fantastic little app to pre-visualize and learn about lighting. You know, if you're afraid of mannequins, then just get Set a Light. You'll be fine. And you can set up a whole bunch of lights and modifiers and bounce, and they even have furniture and, you know, set pieces and things like that, and kitchens, and you can really start to figure out a lot of stuff. And you can set up your cameras based on sensor size and focal length, and it'll simulate depth of field, and it's pretty awesome. So I definitely check out, at least I think they have a free trial of Satellite. Cine Tracer is definitely getting some love again from Matt Workman. He's really kind of been working on this whole, you know, virtual production stuff, and a lot of stuff having to do with, with all of that. And it's pretty amazing what he's doing. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, good.
Oh, whoops. There it is.
Oh, hold on.
That's where you go.
Switch over.
wanderingdp.com/contact. And then this pops up. What is the framework? You enter name, email, and you get 6 videos where he breaks down the whole thing. Fantastic stuff. Really, really good. Upstage lighting. It's very simple to understand. Yeah. Would highly recommend. 10 out of 10.
I'm bookmarking it right now. That's a beautiful thing. It's under the contact page. Yeah. What is the framework? Beautiful.
Yeah. He needs to get this out there more. It took me some digging to find, but amazing. Yeah.
Brilliant. Good. I like it. I like it a lot. Let me just switch back over to the app of choice here so that my stupid Steam Deck thing, Stream Deck, not Steam Deck, switches over correctly, and boom. There we go. He's not a bad photographer either. Yeah, I would like to know when he's ever going to show you something from Leica. His Leica photography. And
see, I thought it was Leica too, but I think he's saying life of photography.
I think he says Leica.
Photography on set. I'm
pretty much sure it's Leica. Yeah, because I think I've heard him talk about the fact of maybe one day we'll actually have some Leica stuff in here too. But it's like okay. it's in the little sizzly thing, and he just leaves it that. But I might be wrong. Yeah. Wait a minute. Since the Aussies are chiming in. Yeah. What's he saying? Since the Aussies are chiming in, what are we saying here? Good day from Melbourne. For me, I can't deal with gear reviews anymore. I'll only watch content that shows how to solve problems or offer new ways of doing things. Beautiful. Good. Yeah. Creative video tip says it's Leica. Yeah, he's funny. He's a funny guy. All right.
He's great. Yep.
He is. He's good.
Big fan.
He doesn't take himself too seriously, but takes himself very seriously, which is the perfect balance, I think, in the production world.
Just right. Yep.
Good. Camera Conspiracies. I haven't seen the Camera Conspiracies video in a long time. That guy definitely cracked me up in the beginning, and then I was like, I don't know if I'm learning something or I'm just being entertained or what's going on here.
He's a funny guy. I've watched a handful of videos.
Yeah.
And I like him, but he's got the weirdest things he's just obsessing about.
Yeah.
He's like, he just goes off the deep end about like how, and then anyway.
Good to have you, Ryan.
Interesting channel for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also interesting when you start to see people who are sort of in a particular lane for a long time, and they pretty dramatically shift,
Yeah.
They've just sort of, for whatever reason, they're changing. And
you're on here long enough, and 10 years I've been here. Peter McKinnon or people like that,
Yeah.
I would say every 2 years you just, we all change.
Yep.
I was what year is this? 2022. I was like 20 something. Early 20s when I started this thing.
Yeah.
And I probably would slap myself multiple times if I came across myself in person now. It's just wild. You change
a lot.
Yeah. But then there's the legends who stay the same for they never change. I think that's one of the hardest things about this is, people subscribe and start watching you because of something, but you change. And so that thing usually changes. And so a lot of people be like, oh, remember the good old days when, a bunch of people started watching someone. But there's a few people who I can't think of anyone right now, but it's the same thing. They're still rocking the same format, which is great. I have nothing against that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, I
it's
think
an
he's
interesting
expanded
concept to think about.
with some, like, I did an interview with Curtis recently, but I feel like Curtis very much has a lane. Like, he
Hmm.
changes some of the things he does to a degree, but he's so consistent, but he's also so thorough. Like, there's really so little about what Curtis does that I can say somebody else does better than Curtis. He just has a way about him when it comes
Yep.
to audio, especially, that he would be my first place to go. If I'm looking for information about a particular piece of audio gear, I'm going to go to Curtis's channel first to see
Yep.
what he has to say. And what I love about him is that he doesn't say you need to buy this product, or when he's talking about two products, he'll never say this one's better than the other. He will just talk about what features those products have, let you listen
Hmm.
to and make decisions for yourself. And I think that's a great way to do it. I'm not that type of person. I'm going to tell you how I feel about something,
Right. Right.
um,
Right. Right.
you know, but I think you need that in a space like the one he's in. He's a rock
Mm.
star though. Love that guy. Um, yeah, and then
Film
you have
Riot's
other
fantastic. I just wish
what
they
is?
were able to make more content. Film Riot.
Yeah.
They're
Oh
great,
yeah.
but they're busy making real things. So they not real, but you know what I mean.
I can't believe that.
Movies,
I can't
films,
believe Ryan has not made a movie yet. Like,
a
there's
full
so
movie.
many
Yeah.
people.
Well,
Yeah, because there's so many people who have done so much less than him that have done it, and I wonder if he's suffering from because I've done a project with them, and he's great. That whole team, that whole family is great. But do you
yeah.
think he's almost like it's been so long he doesn't want to make the feature because the expectations are so high, or he's just
No,
waiting?
I think it's something I've told a lot of people. Ask me like, should I start a channel? I feel like I've got a lot to share. And I tell them every single time, you have to pick one of those two disciplines and one will die for the other
Mm-hmm.
to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
You have to bury one in the ground so that the other one can flourish and grow from
Yep.
that corpse in the ground. And I
Yep.
feel like Film Riot, and every time I bring up Film Riot, because it's one of the few people or groups of people who is doing kind of both.
Mm-hmm.
Film Riot is making real movies or shorts.
Yes.
Not like, I'm Casey Neistat. Here's my movie this week. No, that's not a movie. They're making like narrative, hardcore stuff.
Yep.
But they're also, I mean, I'm just checking now. They're doing a video. Looks like they're kind of coming back. But for a while there, they were kind of fewer videos. And it's really incredibly hard to do both. And I'm
Yep.
amazed that they're still doing both. But I think for them to go full on movie time, you got to drop Film Riot. So you got to pick
Yeah,
your
it's gonna be tough. Yeah, I mean, they're
pick your
really gonna
battle.
have to have. They're either gonna. I mean, look, the reason it works, because I've done a project behind the scenes working with them,
Right, right, right.
um, is because that group of people, essentially his family and some auxiliary people who he works with, they're all in for the whole thing, right? So they're doing the content for Film Riot. They're also doing the behind the scenes of the projects they're doing for the content for Film Riot. It's all tied in together in terms of what they're doing. And the way they can do that successfully for a feature is they're going to have somebody come on board. If it's going to be financed, they're going to have to understand that the movie's going to take 6 months longer because part of that's going to be about creating content about how the film was going to be made. Like, you have to give, because
Mm,
the only way for it to be successful for somebody like Ryan to be able to do what he wants to do to make a feature film is he's still going to have the time to make the feature film. It can't just be making a feature film and trying to squeeze in the BTS stuff, because for them, they're kind of, they're connected to each other.
mm.
So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Um, but I'm sure, as you said in the chat, Michael, he's got something cooking. Evan does make great
Yeah.
content too. I haven't seen any of Evan's content in a while. I haven't watched it. Um, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there. It's just there's so much stuff, and then you get caught up in everything you're doing, and then you have to decide, where does your watch time go?
Hmm.
You know. Um, and I guess for everybody here on the chat, it's different channels, it's different content. and it probably isn't consistent, in terms of what you're watching week in, week out. It was for me in the early days, but I feel like I bounce more now than I used to. How about you? Like when you're watching stuff, do you just keep going back to the same stuff, Caleb, or do
I
you
don't
like?
watch almost anything in our space. It's
Yep,
unless I'm researching something. Um, I used to really enjoy Potato Jet.
yep.
I'm not saying I don't anymore. It's just,
I just don't
you
watch it.
know,
I'm the same.
yeah,
Yep.
I'm got 3 kids, dogs, a
Yep.
business. There's not a lot of time left for YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say there's anyone I'm consistently watching right now. It's just kind of, things here and there. I've been getting more into Instagram, and I wonder, I'd be curious how many people are shifting over there. I'm kind
Mm.
of a late bloomer, so I'm getting more into that just from a quick jump in, get some interesting, lighting lens content. But yeah, and I'm kind of over the whole review thing too.
Yep. Yep.
A, I do it. B, yeah, there's not a lot of like, if I don't know, I wish there was someone doing more like vintage lens work. More, if someone did what Wandering DP does, but in video form,
Mm.
forget it. That's what I would love to see.
Yeah, I mean, he has a YouTube channel,
It's
but
more of
it's
that.
just not the same. It's
Yeah,
not the same.
but weekly, regular
Yep.
stuff that is at
Yeah, I
his
agree.
level would be amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
DP Journey's
Um,
good.
mhm.
Yep, a lot of good recommendations here in the chat.
Yep.
Media Division's amazing. Love that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of great stuff out there. It's just, what are
Mm.
you going to spend your time watching? And I also am the
Yep.
same. Um, it takes a lot now for me to watch a video on a new product. It's interesting. It's like a new product
Mm.
drops. It's got to be a big thing. Remember in the old days, like when the movie came out, people were like, "What the?"
Right.
It's an entirely new product category. And that was just happening continuously
Mm-hmm.
after DSLRs really started to become part of the mix of what we were using, and that whole ecosystem. I kind of call it the golden age. I was talking to a friend about it the other day. It's that central hall at NAB used to be a hall I never went to because, first of all, I was mainly in post, so I was doing stuff with Apple and other companies, so I was in the South Hall. But secondly, that was like where the broadcast companies were. That's where the big broadcasters were. And then when we started to really go to the central hall in earnest, that was really when it was the show had a certain energy. There's you only get that now with like a company like Aperture. They're the only company in a lot of ways that has this community that exists in and around their products. There's some of that with other companies. I think Westcott has it, but they're also largely photography, though they have obviously a lot of continuous light and things. But that just sort of creator energy is really reserved in a lot of ways for Aperture right now. But in the old days, it was Red Rock and Zacuto, and you had,
Right.
Kessler, and you had, you had the
Cinovate.
Teradek,
Oh,
Cineve, and you had all of these Dennis from, you had all of these companies, and they were all just innovating. And then Freefly came in, you're like, oh my God, what is that? This thing,
Juice Link
Juice
too.
Linked, and all of these things were happening, and it was a really exciting. It was about 3 or 4 years where it was just incredible, and then things started to settle down, and there was also an oversaturation, I think, in the market of products that were very similar, which has continued.
Mm.
Um, but there's still a lot of exciting stuff, and I still think there's a lot of room for us to grow in this industry. So
I think someone needs to pick up the Cyclops baton.
oh my God. Why are you bringing that
They
up?
had some amazing things, but the Cyclops. Remember the Cyclops?
Yeah, I remember the Cyclops. I also
Yep.
remember the
First of all, let's put the whole rig way out here, and then let's put something about this long,
yes, this
optically,
long. Yes.
chunk of glass,
Yes.
double,
I remember. It was
visor
gigantic.
action. Yeah.
Wait, that was
They made
Cinovate?
some rig
The
stuff that no one
Cyclops?
else had. That
Was
was
that this?
Cinovate.
That was
That was
Cinovate.
Cinovate.
Good old Dennis.
But they're
Dennis.
yep. they had some wicked stuff. I remember like being like, I think I've got a couple of videos on some of their older, they made some stuff that no one else had.
Hey, you know what?
And something
Fucking
about their,
Thunder Bay,
yeah,
baby.
anyway,
Thunder Bay.
so good.
The
So
things that
good.
come out of there. And yes, come on, Chris. I still have a fig rig. I mean, that's kind of the beginning.
Is that the
of
circle thing?
Yes, the fucking steering wheel is amazing.
Dude,
Fig
I've
rig,
got a video
man.
idea that I've been dying to make. I'm trying to figure out exactly the spin on it, but essentially going to Home Depot. No one steal this idea or I will reach through the internet and strangle you.
Yes.
I won't, but don't do it because it's mean. I want to go to Home Depot, buy a bunch of random stuff and attach a camera to it and show that, like, you know, I'm getting back into big boy rigs, like thick boy. It looks like I'm on the behind the scenes of, you know, a Marvel movie, like huge rigs or Mandalorian or something insane, because there is nothing like weight and size to make a camera look like you're filming a movie. Like the footage coming off of that card. I don't care if it's a T2i, take that thing and I'm literally going to take a quick release plate and I'm going to resin glue it down onto a cinder block. Stick my arms through the 2 holes and it just,
love it.
There's something about that. Or a 2x4 that's this wide and everyone you can't see this wide.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
But everyone makes fun of that rig, the fig rig, but the fig rig, man, that was a part of it. It's a combination of like girth, like distance and weight that makes something special happen. And I think, anyway, I could go on and on about it. It's
you should.
Nerdy
and
stuff, but
and if we put an M50 on there, forget about it. It'd be all over.
Maybe I'll do that. I'll take this M50 off of this boom arm.
I'd like to make that video with you. That would be fun. Well, let me just say, because we're not going to have another episode until the beginning of May, and we'll do a post NAB wrap. And Caleb, let's make sure we take pictures. Let's get some content while we're there. I'm not necessarily going to do booth interviews, but I definitely want to generate some content that can be used for stuff.
A little bit of B-roll. That's all you need.
Yep. Yeah, a little bit of B-roll, some still images, you and I walking around. But let's get down to business. And Pat, good to see you. Thanks for coming. We're wrapping up anyway. Look for us in the Central and North Hall at NAB. Sunday the 24th, Monday the 25th, possibly for part of the 26th, which is the Tuesday. And those are going to be the big days for the show. The show goes through Wednesday. I can tell you one thing. Wednesday will be a ghost town. And by the time you get to the middle of Tuesday, the latest, it's going to start to get real quiet. There'll be so if you want to go have a conversation with a manufacturer who might be burned out by that time, that's the time to do it. But the sweet spot is sort of, Monday afternoon going into Tuesday morning. That's when you're going to get somebody to actually spend some time with you, just as a tip. We'll look for your Eva 2, Colin, and I can't wait, Caleb. It's going to be great to hang out.
It's going to be fun. Yep. If you're all going to go, let us know. Hit us up and email, Twitter or something. And if enough people want to hang out, maybe we'll do another beer garden 30-minute chill.
Yeah, like a midday if you're going to be there.
Bud Light and in a thimble, and it'll be a good time. You
have an email address to reach out on this channel, photoclub@thec47.com. So we can just use that as a standard.
me at the C40. Sorry.
Yeah, you can. Do nab it at the c47.com. It's not a dedicated mailbox, but either of those will work. But let us know if you're going to the show. Let's try to connect. Last time, 3 freaking years ago, we went out between Central and South Hall, and we all hung out at the beer garden, and we had a nice chat. It was about a dozen of us. It was really nice. And of course, you're staying at Circus Slavic. Of course you are. All the best, everybody. Any parting words, Caleb, before we head out to Vegas?
Just life is like a fig rig. It just keeps rolling.
Unbelievable. Well, $50 love you guys. Shipping. Yeah, really, really appreciate everybody who's part of this community. I know it's a small one, but it's an important one. We'll work on growing it and making it more specific. And please, if you have ideas for live stream content going forward, things that you're interested in, I'm going to start to compile that. So just send it to photoclub at the c47.com and enjoy your week. Be safe out there and much appreciated.
Have a good night, guys.
See ya.